G'day and welcome to another episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups. On this episode, we're in day 14 of lockdown, Sydney, New South Wales, Australia. We're working on the Mini. My mate from Mini World Australia lent me some 10-inch by 6-inch steel wheels to try to see if they fit on the Mini. And if they do, we might end up fitting them. So I've got two sets of rims here. I have the steel black wheels and I have these alloy ones as well. Now I had these painted white when I originally got on the car. They're a 12 by 4.5 with a positive 35 offset. They work really well and they look nice. Now I wanted to try and emphasize the black on the red color scheme. I wanted the black to really pop. So instead of using the white wheels, I went with standard wheels, got them painted until I found the right ones to suit. Now these are the rims that my mate lent me from Mini World Australia, Alex. They are a 10 by 6 with a POS 15 offset. So let's fit them up and see how they look. Before we begin, let's have a quick tidy up. Hey presto, it's fully clean. So the missus didn't want me to go any further without cleaning the place up. So let's start on removing the front wheels and then we'll move one of the rear wheels and we'll see how it looks. All right, so I just remembered, don't have my Bucks hat on. Go Milwaukee. So let's get to work, let's get these rims on and see how they look. All right, so now that we've got the wheels on, we want to check a couple of things. We want to make sure going lock to lock, it's not going to scrub anywhere. Now the steering lock undone, we're going to turn the wheel all the way one way. Let's see if it's going to touch anywhere, which it's clearly not. We've got plenty of room between there and the front guard, and then we're going to go all the way back the other way. Now, it's touching at the back here, so that means we need to move the caster forward. Now, because this is on full droop, droop is the measurement between center of the wheel hub when it is on the ground to the guard, to raised off the ground, so there's no load on the suspension whatsoever, taking the same measurement from center of the hub to the wheel arch, and that'll give you your exact droop. So let's give it a measure and we can have a look before we put it on the ground. Now the difference in height between the left and the right side, it's 5 mil. So it's higher on the right hand side than it is on the left. That's an adjustment we could make in a future episode. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to take it off the jack stands and then we're going to lower it on the ground and see how it looks and where it's touching as well. Now that it's sitting on the ground, we'd probably have to go for a drive around the block to allow the suspension to settle. Because the trailer's in the way, we won't be going for a drive anytime soon. Now, it's got quite a lot of poke. So poke is how much it sticks out from the guard. So the video probably doesn't do it justice, but you're looking at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Now, looking at the passenger side of the front gives a good indication as to how much poke it's actually going to have. Now the next thing we're going to do is measure the droop as well. So we're going to look at the specifications when it's sitting on the ground and when it was sitting in the air and measure them. Also, we're going to go lock to lock and see where exactly it's touching, if it is anywhere. Now I've done some quick calculations with the droop. The difference on the driver's side from when it is fully raised off the ground to when it is sitting on the ground, you're looking at 65 mil. On the passenger side, we have a difference of 60 mil. So even though it is 5 mil, it's not significant enough, but it is another thing we can adjust on a future episode. Next thing we're going to do is adjust the wheel left to right and see what it does if it touches anywhere. So that's full lock to the left. As you can see right at the front here, it's starting to touch the guard. So it's going to require a bit of either trimming or we're going to have to adjust the caster. Now I've gone full lock the opposite way and there's about a Mickey hair gap between the back of the guard and the tyre. So we can create clearance with two different things. One is to get a smaller profile tyre, so we decrease this size here a little bit smaller. Or number two is we adjust the wheel alignment to try and make it fit. Number three option, which I hope we don't have to do, we might have to remove this screw here for the flare or even trim off a bit of the front guard as well. And don't forget to check both sides as well. You don't want to just be checking one side and assuming it's going to be okay because it likely won't be. Now you can see right here, hopefully I can get the camera in there, it's just touching on the corner there. So that might be something that we can trim, or once again, we might just be able to get a smaller profile tyre to allow it to clear. All right, so I've turned the wheel as much as I could go the opposite way, but it's not touching at the moment. There's quite a significant gap between the back of the tyre and the guard, as you can see there. Now, the reason this hasn't gone to full lock is because it's actually hitting on the opposite side. So in order for us to combat not being able to go full lock to the left is to probably adjust the height of the suspension. If we could bring it up that extra 5 mil, you'd probably find it would actually clear at the front here. So that's a job for the future when we get the wheels. Right, so now we've fitted the front, let's put the back on, lower it down and see if it clears. Right, now we've got the wheel on, we can have a look. So visual inspection at the back, we have quite a lot of gap up and all the way around, as well as at the front. So my only concern is here between this little panel and the tyre when we bring it down, but it's rotating fine. There's no touching whatsoever. It's clearing absolutely everything at the back. So let's try the other side and make sure we got the same result. All right, so coming around the back, we'll have a look. So we've got the same gap up all the way around the back of the wheel arch, all the way through the top and at the front as well here. So we just give the wheel a bit of a spin, make sure it's not touching or catching anywhere, check up underneath. All right, sweet, doesn't look like we have any clearance issues. Now doing these type of measurements is going to give you a really good indication as to whether your car is square or not. If you bought it second hand, or maybe it's as old as mine, it may not be square because over time, the panels might have shifted, it might have been an accident, you just don't know. So let's lower the car down, we'll have a look, see how it looks on the ground. All right, so just excuse Tim the Toolman Taylor next door. Apparently it's the weather to be doing some renovations to your house. So as you can see, the rear of the vehicle, it is quite wide as well. So it does have quite a lot of poke, which is great. Let's have a look at the driver's side, see if there's any clearance issues. So it's good all the way up around the back like it was originally, and the clearance at the front is fine. We'll check the other side as well. All right, so check the passenger side. Looks like it's good all the way around. Terrific, so there's no clearance issues whatsoever at the back. So these rims are going to fit my car, which is great. I just need to make a couple of adjustments, likely just to do with the height, which is just in here, and then the shock as well. So there we have it, guys. That's how you put wheels on your car and to check to see if they're going to clear. So it's very important to make sure that you check it, not only when it is sitting on a hoist or when it's got droop on the suspension, but also when it's sitting on the ground. Go lock to lock, go for a drive, see how it feels. Make sure you do it on a flat, level surface and ensure that you let the suspension settle in before you make any drastic modifications to your car. Like I said, what's going to give you clearance is going to be offset of the rim, as well as a different profile on the tyre. So worst case scenario here, I might need to change profile, but I can likely get away with it by just adjusting not only the wheel alignment, but also the ride height of the vehicle. So as always, guys, stay COVID safe. Hope you liked the video. Leave your comments in the section below for things that you want to see me do, as well as the feedback on the rims, whether you have used this combination yourself or if you know of a combination that can work just as good, if not better. Now, don't forget, I've also got 2-inch spacers and a 2-inch flare. Thanks heaps for watching, guys. We'll see you next time episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups, all things DIY and mechanical.